everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have something special today. I'm going to be sharing two process videos for layouts. I'm finishing off my hip kit main kit and I'm just showing you what I've got left. So not much, a few embellishments, one piece of paper and that one sheet of gold stickers. So I'm just tearing along that paper and trimming off a bit of that white torn paper. I don't like too much white edge. So doing the other side, and then I'm just cutting down two small strips as I want to feature both sides of this paper, given that it's my last one. So it takes me a little while to work out how wide I want those strips, because I'm going to use up the whole sheet of gold stickers on this layout. So getting a couple of strips there, and I'm going to glue everything down. Now I'm only putting a bit of tape in the middle of that piece of paper, as I am going to be stitching on this layout. So I'm going to stitch the edge of that aqua paper, and I'm going to stitch along the two thinner strips. So I'll do the stitching on the aqua now, but I'll come back to the others because I want to get the gold stickers down first and then stitch. So just placing those two strips, top and bottom, where I want them, and making sure they're nice and straight, because they are a straight edge, they're not a torn rough edge. And of course it's not straight, so just fixing that up. Because the stickers are going to go along those edges, it'll be really noticeable if they're crooked. So checking that, ruffling up the edges of that torn paper, and then I'll move on to the stickers. So I've got that one small sheet left out of that pack. Here I go, I'm just stitching along the edge now. Okay, so I've got one sheet left, all of the gold stickers remain. And when I got my kit at the start of the month, this is the first layout that came to my mind to do. But I got distracted once I opened the kit with other ideas. So I've come back, last layout, or one of the last, and I'm finally getting it made. I'm going to cut all of the round wreaths and round frames in half, and I want them peeking out both top and bottom of the layout. So hopefully I can make these stickers stretch to cover both that top side and bottom side of the paper. Now I'm not going to show you me sticking them all down, because it does take quite a while, but just trying not to have two of the same things directly above each and below each other. So trying to make sure I space them out and make it look a little bit more random. I end up having two similar wreaths side by side. So instead of it looking like it's all lined up perfectly, I decide to overlap those two a little bit. You'll notice that at the end. There's a few word stickers on that sheet as well. So I've cut around those and just setting them aside. And once I get all of these wreaths and frames and florals and leaves stuck down, I'll go back and fit the words in around that. As you can see, there's a little bit of space in some of those frames that I can pop things in. Now I've just gone off camera to sew along that strip and trimming the threads. And then I am going to add some gold Heidi swap colour shine, I think. Yeah, just checking my photos where I want it. Okay, yes, so here I'm adding some gold Heidi swap colour shine. and just going to wait for that to dry. Now this is my box I keep my kits in, so the current September kit's on top. All my other bits and bobs are under it. Now I know I've got some scrap papers left, not much. I've got a few little bits, so I'm pulling those out because I'm going to use them up layering behind my photo. There's my photo I'm using today. It's of my daughter and her best friend. So I'm going to try and use up as much of these scraps as I can. So getting that black and white Amy Tangerine paper directly behind the photo because it's nice and bold. Trimming that down. And because I've got the torn paper on my layout, I'm going to rough up all of the edges on these layers. I'm just going to use my fingers and fingernails. I'm not using scissors or anything. So next piece is that Maggie Holmes Willow Lane paper. I'm going to use that pale pink side. Trim that down, and you will notice there's some gaps. I'm just going to use one of the other scraps to fill that in, line it all up, and you won't even notice. I've also got some of that other floral paper from Willow Lane. I'm going to use that next, but I'm going to use the other side, the black and white check side, as a layer instead. And again, just top and bottom. There's only a couple of pieces left, and I really want to try and get as much used on this layout as possible, so it may as well be on the layout than in the bin. So just popping on that final scrap piece of paper now. I thought about using that spotty paper, but I'll keep that scrap for maybe a traveller's notebook entry. So now I'm on to the embellishments. I've got that Hey Good Looking card there that I've just cut in half, and I'm going to put that in the gaps, so top and bottom, and on an angle. Rough up those edges. I've got that little embellishment that I do try and make work on a number of the layouts, but I haven't used it yet. So just sorting through what I might want to use. Pulling the butterflies aside. Thought about the hearts, but no. There's a few chipboard stickers left that I can use up on this layout, and a couple of floral pieces. I've got that teacup card, cut that in half and pop that in where there's a few gaps. And I think that's pretty much it for the layers behind the photo. So I'm going to grab some fun foam and back my photo with that and pop it up a little bit. Just checking it's the right size and getting that down. Okay, so now I'm going to work out where I want everything placed. Obviously, a nice floral piece, one on each side, the chipboard sticker there, the banner perhaps at the top of the photo, and then I've got all of these butterflies which I will fussy cut out and work out where I want those on the page. I've stuck down already my floral pieces and that half a butterfly on the right side and the other two butterflies. Now I'm putting some more Goldie Swap Colour Shine on the layout, and I spill a bit on my photo, but the good thing with the Colour Shine is it doesn't soak in immediately, so no harm done. So just drying up a bit of that gold mist now. And that's pretty much the page done. Just adding that final banner, and I'm going to pop some journaling down. I'm just keeping my journaling really basic, just recording my daughter's name, her best friend's name, and the year. And that layout is done. Now I just want to show you, I had still a few bits and pieces left and I had a bit of an idea in my mind. So I'm placing it out on my mat first and I just wanted to share that process with you. So this is pretty much all I've got left. I'm going to try and fit as much as I can on this last page and we'll see how we go. So I know I want to do a horizontal page and put all the embellishments in the middle, similar to the background, the paper in my last layout, and try and fit as many as I can going across the page. Now I'm using white cardstock, and because all of my embellishments and photos are going to be in the middle of the page, I decided to pre-tear and back my cardstock with some pattern paper and some messy stitching. So you'll see that in a moment when I grab my cardstock. There you go, I'm showing you now. So just to add a little bit of something to the top and bottom thirds of the page. So I've got some pastel colours in mind that I'm going to do a little bit of watercolouring on the background. Not a lot, it's going to be very minimal and hardly noticeable, but it will just help to ground all of those embellishments so they don't look like they're just floating across the middle of the page. So I'm adding some of the pastel blue, the pastel aqua. I'm going to add some of the pastel pink, and I'm also going to mix up a little bit of the yellow. Now there's no real technique to this, I'm just mixing up a little bit of the colour and spreading it on with a brush and just dropping some droplets of paint with the brush as well. I'm not too worried because it's barely going to be noticeable. Watering down that yellow and just getting it on the page now. Now I dried this up with some paper towel, and silly me thinks it's dry enough, and I try to add some of my black mist and it just soaks into the existing colour and makes a mess. So I soak that up and I'll come back to some black splatters later, but that will be hidden mostly by the photos, so you won't notice it. So again, just roughly marking out where I want all of these embellishments to go on the page and how I want it to look. And then I will start gluing all these bits and pieces down. Got some last few butterflies that I fussy cut out to use. Making sure there's a bit of yellow on the left and a bit of yellow on the right. And again, try to use that flag, but it gets put aside. All right, so let's start gluing things down. So I'm going to back my photo again with that black Amy Tangerine paper. And I decide to cut down my photo just by another inch, just so everything's not really squashed on the page. I trim that up, and again, there's a little bit of square in the top right corner that's not covered behind the photo, so I just take a small scrap, line it up, and you wouldn't even know. So there's my photo ready to go. Now, back to those black splatters, and they work much better this time. Getting those on the page and just soaking up the excess. And now I can start gluing everything down. Now I'm going to add some twine to that tag, and as I'm pulling it through, it gets a bit caught and it doesn't come all the way through, and I decide that I really like the look of that anyway, so I'm going to leave that how it is. Get these two halves of the frame down and pop those cute little animal embellishments on the page. Now that's popped up on foam, that tag, and I'm going to pop my photo up on some fun foam too. Now these two half frames I want to make sure are covered, so that's why I've glued those down first to the page so that they are hidden underneath the other embellishments. And then I decide that this little panda would look cute behind that other embellishment, so I stick the panda down first. And those butterflies will stay there. But I'll glue the butterflies down with foam tape as well, so I'll get the photo down first. And the other bits and bobs. Pop some tape on the back of the tag. Pop it up on top of that other embellishment. And then I can start popping foam dots on my butterflies. There's one there. The yellow one over on the left. And another pink one at the bottom of the photo. And then I think the final thing to add is that banner that I put down in the bottom right hand corner of the photo, and add some journaling. So I'm just recording about, this is my youngest daughter, and just some funny little things about her that I love. So popping that down, and then I will add the date using my Becky Higgins Project Life date stamp. And that is the layout done. So there are my two final layouts with the Hip Kit August main kit, and this is what I have left. So there's the embellishments I have left. That is it. And here are the scrap pieces of paper I have left. And here's some still shots. So this is that first layout I made, and then the final layout. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.